Black Motor Speedway, first race of the 2017-18 schedule, Hillbilly 400. Got to thank Claudio and Debbie Bruno from USA Produce and Seafood. Claudio's been my one-time sponsor from the time we started. He's the longest sponsor we've had. He sponsors 2 races here with his USA Produce and Seafood, and also with his Anthony's Pizza, the official food of OMS, which we had some of his great pizza today. But Alan Sagi, you went with a new car owner this year. You're running for Junior Cooper, who was a past champion. You've been a past champion. Y'all kind of dominated. Brent kind of come on there at the end and snuck the second place away from Junior, but you had a pretty good, strong running here.
Well, thank you. I wouldn't call it domination. You know, Brent was coming there at the end of the first half of segments, and you know, somebody said, you're in pretty good shape, you're leading, just cool it. And I said, nah, you got to keep pace and keep rolling, because I was starting out on faster lanes and I was moving out and was going to lose some time. And I knew that Brett and Junior were both coming, so you kind of had to keep it rolling. There's no time for naps here at Outback.
Well, I was kind of thinking dominant because of Junior winning his heat, you running second. You was a little bit finding some speed there, but then you found it in the B main, definitely found it in the feature. But just talking mainly of how dominant Junior's cars were last year and how they're starting right off again good here, which I think almost everybody in the feature was in a Junior car. Well,
you know, no doubt. He builds a real nice chassis. Car worked real good. I got to thank him for giving me a ride this year. It's going to be a lot of fun driving for him. You know, it was tough, though, like you say, in the heat race. I run second, had to go to the B main, and Brent beat me in B main. And I thought, well, how am I going to beat these two guys in the feature to beat me all night long like a rag doll? But things just kind of worked out, and the race came to me. And, you know, sometimes it's your race, and things just kind of work in your favor, and it's your turn.
Yeah. Well, how was the track? You know, I slicked her up there a little bit at the beginning, but it seemed like it came in pretty quick. But I don't think it ever really got I think it looked like it stayed pretty mediocre. Y'all was still a little loose. You had to drive them, but yet you had pretty good traction. Didn't get too tight.
Yeah, I would call it like a fast slick. You could still spin the tires and kick the back end out if you weren't a little bit careful. So you had to keep it rolling, but you had to use a little bit of finesse. That makes for good racing. It really was a good race. I mean, there was a lot of people coming and going, and different people won segments and different things going on. So, yeah, it was, you know, everybody had a good night. It was a good night of racing here.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, you got out to the lead, and then Junior took it away from you one time, but he didn't get far enough ahead for when he was going to rotate out, and you was rotating down. But from that second to about fifth, it was a toss-up clean until the end. They was flip-flopping back and forth, and then it looked like Junior had himself pretty good until Brent went down on them lower lanes, and he was making up some time there.
Yeah, Brent was really hauling there at the end. I looked up there on one of the track calls and saw he ran a 1.605 on lane 1, and I know that's the fastest anyone's ever run on this track in a race. We fooled around in practice, kind of running bonsai runs, and done a little better than that, but not too often. So I don't think he even noticed it. I kind of pointed it out to everybody. It's like, wow, isn't that something? But yeah, I noticed there. I was kind of watching the guys back 4th through 7th. Scotty, David, all those guys were really bounding out. Nicholas, they were all like in the mix back and forth. And I wanted to stay out of their way because I knew that they had a real big, you know, race going amongst themselves. And I didn't want to, you know, bump anybody and determine any of that. I think Jackson Franklin was involved in that too. There's 4 of them that were just right there. So, yeah, it was a hell of a race.
Yeah, well, you got to be proud. Like I told you, it was a record for our first race. Most we'd ever had at the very first race to start the season had been 28, and we surpassed that with 30. So 30 here, and you end up on top. Good way to start the season.
Yeah, you can't ask much more than that. I don't know if I ever won the opener or not. I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
You know, I couldn't tell you, but I'm happy to win tonight.
I don't think you have since it's been the Hillbilly. I think you did win the opener like the first season, but it wasn't a Hillbilly race.
Okay.
So
I was thinking maybe the first or second year we might have won the opener, and yeah.
But either way, congratulations.
Hey, it's nice to win one anytime you can win one here, because you don't know when or if your next one's going to come. I mean, they're hard to come by. But again, I'd like to thank Junior, and you know, we had a good night here. We'll come back next week and do it again.
All right, man. Congratulations.
Thank you for putting this on.
In his head, but now he's trying to see
All right, here we are with second place finisher Brent Hoddle. Again, got to thank Claudio and Deb from USA Produce and Seafood. But this has been a thorn in your side with this race. You always start off the season terrible with the Hillbillies, so to come out of here with a second is almost like a win for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just talking to Scott. Me and him, we were feeling pretty good coming out here tonight. I had 4 cars come out tonight, and 3 of them made the show. Jackson, he run pretty strong. He won his heat race, and Scott won his heat race. I was a slow car of the night. I didn't time the best. Them boys was way up there. But, I usually struggle. I think I've got probably 4 of these non-qualifier checks for this race. So it was a good night. Saggy, he pointed out that I had that fast lap down there on 1. I had no idea. I just knew that I needed to pick up the pace, and I was kind of drag racing that thing. I was just holding it down there and running for all she was worth, and was bonsaiing about every lap. If it come out, it came out, but I had to make up ground somewhere. So, it was a good race. Everybody had a good time. It was a good turnout tonight. I want to thank Debbie and Claudio for all their support. I mean, Claudio's been one of the first sponsors we had, and to take on 2 races with his USA Produce and his Nancy's Pizzas, it's a really cool deal. They're really great people. I want to thank everything you do, and Johnny O for all his help, and Walter for all his help. Now he stepped on board. He's really showed us a few things, so hopefully we'll get even more streamlined. So it's a good event. We record break crowd with 30, it ended up being 30, wasn't it? So, and I can think of a couple others that was missing that's usually here. So I don't know what this season's going to end up. And I made it into that A main, and while the introduction was going on, I was kind of looking out across the pit area, and I thought, man, there's a whole nother A main out there, at least of people that belong in. So this season's going to be tough. So I knew going in that Allen and Junior were going to be tough this year, and they showed strong. I got to be at Thorn, wedge my car in the middle of it, but hopefully I'll pluck a couple more off this year, hopefully, and hopefully I get Jackson and Scott and Dean their first win since they haven't made it. So we're going to see what happens.
That was a good night. Everybody enjoyed the pizza we got from Claudio, and we got to say that Claudio, can't thank him and Debbie enough. That's 8 straight years from the time we started. He's the only sponsor who's been with me for 8 straight years, and quite an accomplishment, something to be proud of.
Absolutely. It's hard to believe we started this thing 8 years ago, me and you building this thing, but what it's grown into. And it's only grown because of the great support of our racers we got and our sponsors. We've got some of the absolute best sponsors, and just like Claudio, he's not the only one that's been on for a long term like this, and it's awesome what this thing has done.
Between Dirt on Dirt, Lucas,
yeah.
John Powell, the list goes on. So a great night. I told Sag I think the track has stayed perfect. It's a good racing track. It didn't have too much bite. It wasn't too slick. It would just put on a good race.
I think so. It took on rubber pretty quick, I think, tonight, but then it kind of just leveled off. And as it leveled off, it was good racing. I mean, we was out there having good runs. A couple guys I think was a little too tight, so they didn't have a good night on that A main, but for the most part, everybody's going. I tell you what, at one point in that A, I got up alongside Junior, and he hung out, and I scooped him up and let out, and how he stayed in the lane, I stayed in the lane, I have no idea. I mean, I had him clean up on top of my hood, so we'll see what happens next week. We'll roll him again.
All right, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Just another falling over, trying to get through the night, step by step, one by one, higher and higher, step by step.
There he is, defending track champion. They can't take that away from you. You got to be good. You had a good car. You just your lane rotation didn't help you the best. You got up there and got the lead, but I said he ain't gonna be able to hold it off because you're going out and Saggy was going in, and then looked like you had a strong second, but somehow Brent caught you, but just barely got you at the end. I think it was only like a lap or 2 left when he finally got around you. So I told Saggy, he got out there a little bit there towards the end. You could tell he was going to win, but I'll tell you, from second to fourth, I didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah, when we started that last segment, I told Bryce I'm going to probably finish 4th, and then the thing runs good, like from 6, 7, 8. Man, that thing's flying around there. I'm just a little slower on the bottom than Allen. I think that's probably where he got me. And I'm just happy to run 3rd.
Yeah, I mean, your cars are the dominant cars now. There ain't no doubt about that. Is yours a brand new one, or is that one that you was running last year?
No, Allen's running my last year car, and I just wanted to build something, see if I could beat it. And I got lucky in the heat race, and he got one wreck, and I beat him by like a quarter of a lap, and then I knew it was going to take like no wrecks in the feature to beat him, and then I got in like 4 or 5 pretty early. None of them my fault. I just got collected.
Yeah.
And I think I had one was my fault. So if I'd have made it through without wrecking any, I think I might have been right there. But it was I don't know if I could have beat him. He was pretty fast.
Well, you got him in your box. You could do a little body swap here or there.
Yeah, I don't know. I would probably let him keep running. I ain't too worried about it.
Well, what do you think of the track? I told him, I said it looked like it was really starting to take rubber, but then it just laid back, and it looked like a good racetrack. I mean, it was slippery enough you had to drive them, but yet had enough traction to put on a good race.
Yeah, I liked it. When we got here, I thought it was going to be real tight because it wasn't too bad when we got here, and I thought it was going to get real tight by the end of the night, but it wasn't too bad. I liked it.
After 8 years, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Good start to the season. Congratulations.
Thanks.
The man says I'm overdue. Sing along, save some money.